So, every anime season, I take a look at what's coming out, and I look for something that's getting a new season that I've never seen before. Something that once upon a time was popular enough and resonated with enough audiences that its studio decided to give it another shot. And this season, there was only one choice, and because I have no interest in watching Overlord, I watched Free. That's right, I watched the legendary Man Service anime. If you've heard of this anime at all, you've probably heard that it mostly appeals to women who like looking at some sexy animated men. And yeah, that's all I thought the show was about when I first heard about it back in the day when it first came out. And so naturally, I assumed it wasn't for me. I didn't even really like sports anime at the time, so I pretty much had no interest in watching this. But when I looked at what my other options were this past summer anime season, I decided, let's give it a shot. And boy am I glad I did, because I actually really like Free. In fact, dare I say it, this is one of my favorite anime of the year. I know that seems crazy. I never thought in a million years I'd say it, but I can't help it. This show is awesome. Is it revolutionary? Is it the greatest sports anime of all time? No, not at all. But that might even be one of the reasons I like it, because this show's not interested in being the greatest anything. It is interested in giving you these fun characters, putting them in some interesting circumstances, getting some actual interesting plot going, and really just taking it as far as they can and really just getting you into it. Yeah, the story is a lot of fun. At first it sounds like the typical, it's a bunch of teenagers who want to come together to form a sports team and be the very best there ever was. And that is what's going on, especially in the first season, for the first two seasons. But what I like about it is that we'll do the typical stuff associated with it. We'll build the team, we'll do what we have to do to get space to train, we'll learn the fundamentals, all that. And then in between, we'll just kind of hang out. Like, the characters will just kind of sit around and bounce off each other and sort of talk and just kind of have fun. And that's something I always prioritize in large ensemble casts like this show. Oh, trust me, we get huge with this cast. But I like that when a big cast can just you can just feel why they like being around each other. You get sort of that happy feeling when they're with each other, and you get a sense of who they are as individuals and their individual relationships with each other, and you get to see all that build. And Free does it excellently with some very well written dialogue, some very good acting from both the English and the Japanese, and some great characters. Yeah, they're all simple, but you really do like everybody. There's the introverted, water-loving Haru, there's the fatherly sort of leader Makoto, there's the goofy clown Nagisa, there's the perfectionist learning to swim Rei, there's the rival Rim, and of course there is my favorite character in this whole thing, Rim's sister Ko, who is absolutely hilarious. You assume she's just there to be the one girl character, and though that is probably true, she's really funny with a running gag that I thought I was going to hate, but they really nail when to bring it into a scene, when to not have it. This show has some fantastic comedic timing. There's a lot of jokes in this that are standard, but they're so clicky and so just handled right that you really always have a lot of fun with the dialogue. But, of course, the characters and the dialogue and their funness can only go so far. How's the animation? How are those swimming scenes? Actually, really cool. The animation in this show is beautiful. This show was done by Kyoto Animation, a company that if you've seen any of my older anime reviews, you know I don't overly love this company or their typical sort of formulaic moe cute girl doing cute things bullshit, which might be part of the reason I like this, as it's sort of separated from that. But they always have beautiful, gorgeous animation, and the water looks freaking fantastic in this. And as for when they're swimming in the water, it's freaking awesome. Like, it shouldn't be, because I don't care about swimming and it's not interesting to watch. But the gorgeous water animation, the way all the detail is handled, the way they sort of do close-in shots, the way they zoom out, the way they show the time passing by, it's really creative and it really gets you into it and it really gets you pumped and it's exciting. And more importantly, those abs, all those muscles just meant to get women wet, they actually kind of play a purpose. Yeah, you'll see them winning, you'll see them swimming, and you'll see like the way they kind of like have to move their arms and the way it affects their chests and like the way they contort their bodies when they have to push. Like, all this stuff is done very well, in part due to the fact that there is so much detail in the muscle. Yeah, they actually figured out how to use the man surface to their advantage. It's freaking awesome. And the show's drama actually kind of gets interesting. It's never like, oh, the world's gonna end, or oh, I'm gonna die if we don't do this. Like, a lot of times it's just what these kids are going through in their parts of their life. And a lot of the stuff with Rin turns into a very interesting story of self-worth and wanting to feel like you can honor yourself and honor those around you. It's really well handled. It's very simple stuff, but it doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to have a ton of backstory. Yeah, a lot of times you can just have good drama by just what is naturally going on in their lives and what naturally comes about from their personality types. When season 1 happened, I didn't think a ton of Haru. Yeah, they get you to like him by the end, but ultimately, I didn't really find him that compelling, but in season 2, what they do with his character is really great, and the way they bring it back to Rim, they make Rim more than just a standard rival in this. It's really well done, and I really liked it. I'd say season 2 is the best by far, then season 1. Season 3 I thought was a little bit weaker than the other two. I felt like it sort of retread a lot of ground that we didn't necessarily need, but it handles a huge cast very well, and the positives and the strengths of this show stay throughout 3 seasons, which is quite an accomplishment, especially considering they took such a big hiatus between 2 and 3, and they'll be taking a big one between 3 and 4. Thanks for getting me into one of your shows, Kyoto Annie. Now I have to wait 2 years, because you guys want to do it when the Summer Olympics happen. Thanks a lot. But yeah, all in all, I really like Free a lot. If I had to pick some problems, as I said, season 3 is a little bit of a downturn. If I were to pick one thing I really would have liked to see more of in season 3, it's they split the characters up. Some go off to college. Rei and Ko and Nagisa are still in high school, and they kind of have to lead a new swimming team. I would have liked some more from that. I would have liked to have seen as the 3 older ones have to sort of go into their roles as senpais and leaders. I thought that would have been, I would have liked to have seen some more of that, ultimately. The one thing that kind of bugged me above all else with this show, I mean, naturally when you have animes that are anime onlys, they're not based on previous sources where you had one person steering their own ship, there's a few plot points that I think kind of never go anywhere. They're fine, but I just sort of felt like they could have done more with them. The biggest offender is that throughout the first season, they build up that there's something straining Ko and Rim's relationship, which I thought could have been interesting, especially when we learn more about Rim and his past. I thought having Ko being his little sister, giving her perspective and how it was for her going through the things they've went through would have been nice, but they never do that. And then it's just sort of abandoned the whole relationship between these two. And these two don't even really have a scene together at all. It's a little disappointing, especially because I really thought it could have been interesting. But all in all, it really doesn't hurt the experience of watching this show. It's a fun, likable, enjoyable series, and it really knows how to make that work and support itself for 3 seasons. I'll definitely be there for season 4 in 2 years, and I hope you'll join too. But what do you think of Free? In the comment section below, tell me if you've ever had any interest in this anime, if you ever think you would watch this anime, and if you like sports anime in general. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and tell me what animes you'd like for me to talk about in the future.